Leafs Talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. I was saying today, bud, that I thought tonight was the biggest regular season game for the Leafs since they played the Penguins. You had to work. You couldn't meet me at the bar that night. And Curtis McElhinney backed up Toronto to a playoff spot in the first year of Matthews to go face the Washington Capitals. Now that this game's over, does it feel as big to you? Like, they do have two more, and it's the biggest one until the next couple. But did this one feel huge to you?
Do you want to inside baseball peek into my night that night with Curtis McElhinney night, where I was producing the third or fourth game of the year for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I was watching the Leafs game on the TV, and Mike Wilner came into the behind the glass. He's like, "Guys, I really need you focusing on the Jays game tonight." I was like, "Yeah, for sure, Mike. Definitely gonna be focusing on the 8th game of the year, buddy. Biggest Leafs regular season game my whole life." Anyways, so there you go. That was a peek inside baseball on that one. But yeah, definitely one of the bigger regular season games in a really long time, and felt very, 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 very discouraging. Just very hurtful to my Leaf fan heart in watching this, where getting excited, having no game since when they play last. They played Monday against Utah. They come back from this trip. You have 3 full days to really pump yourself up for a big Atlantic Division clash. And then it just looks like every game they ever play against the Panthers, where Bennett's on the doorstep, whacking them in 16-34, don't get between the hash marks except for one break on a power play, and they just don't generate anything. So discouraging. Hurtful.
So you and I always have the joke of like becoming sports perverts, where we've seen so much that it's like, you got to be real kinky stuff.
Oh, yeah. I need to get down and dirty, brother.
And I woke up this morning excited for this game. Like,
Same.
I had two days in a row where I woke up and I was like, is today that game? And today was that. And I was really excited for it all day long. I wanted to see how the Leafs matched up. And the first 5 minutes of this hockey game, they came out flying, buddy. Mm-hmm. They were incredible. They score a goal. It's on a beautiful pass from William Nylander to John Tavares. I'm having thoughts to myself like, same kind of stuff as always with Tavares, where it's like he's not a line driver anymore, but you put him in that spot, big goal scorer, gets one in. Max Domi, seconds later, one of the biggest hits of the entire season, open ice, just cleans Verhaeghe's clock, and then fills in, no other way to put it, absolutely fills in Nate Schmidt, embarrasses him. Like, looks like Zdeno Chara. Looks like prime Anthony Stewart in the French league, just controlling a guy in fucking mitts and landing bombs.
Oh my God. He hammered
gorgeous, right? He gives the Hulk Hogan to the crowd. And I thought, bud, Toronto takes a lot of flack for bad crowds. It was jumping in there. The people were popping down in Toronto. And I thought, here we go. Here's some attitude for this team that's been dying for this for weeks, really, because it's been pretty lackluster coming off of this trip. And you could kind of make excuses like deadline, long trip, after the Four Nations, blah, 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 blah. New guys trying to find their footing with the team. And I thought, look at these guys. What a proud effort to start this game. And then the rest of 15 minutes of the first period, Panthers just take over. Leafs take dumb penalties. Way too much perimeter play on the outside. Like, this team, you look at the way Florida plays and the way that they get their goals, like just around the net, buzzing, and the way they aggravated Stolarz versus this game. Where's that for Toronto, right? Like, where's that from their star players, their best players? It's completely absent in a game like this. And I tweeted it. I know I'm going long here, but you could look at the shots. You could look at the deserve to win-o-meter, I'm sure. You could say, oh, it's power play goals and 5-on-5. It's pretty even. This is a team that's without Matthew Tkachuk. This is a team without Aaron Ekblad. This is a team that's going to work Brad Marchand into the mix, like still a guy that plays for Team Canada in this league and brings that edge that Florida played with tonight. And the Leafs flat out just like they were the second best team. You can tell me you thought it was close. You can tell me that Toronto had a good push in the third and a good start. But ultimately, Florida was the better team tonight without 3 cogs to the team moving forward.
Yeah, nothing I can disagree with there. I really, really thought that it was an incredible, incredible moment with Max Domi. I mean, he had to be dreaming, like he's really not going to pick his head up here, there in that part of the ice. Like I'm really going to get to do this. And he just wallpapers him as hard as you can hit. Like you said, beats the crap out of Nate Schmidt
Yeah.
And
the magician.
Yeah. And it's just really sucks that the Panthers were the ones that responded off that energy, right? Like it's just, they respond to that way better. They have 3 or 4 shifts after that where they respond. They're the better team. And it's just, that's that team's identity where when the stuff kind of gets greasy, when the stuff kind of gets, physical, they're the team that responds better. They're the team that plays harder. And that's what happens. And it just, the crowd was great for the moment right after. They're all up on their feet, but then it gets pretty quiet again. There's not a ton of goal leaf go. Like it's just, and I don't necessarily even blame them. Like they kind of know what's coming here. And I want to be excited about the upcoming playoffs. I want to be encouraging that it's a different coaching staff. They have better goaltending. They have, a Chris Tanev and Jake McCabe pair. And I thought Chris Tanev was himself tonight. He looked good. He didn't look like he was hurt.
No,
but ultimately, Bud,
I was worried they rushed him back.
But ultimately, Bud, all that matters is the Stars performing. And you can talk about the goal 3 minutes into the game when before the Panthers settle into it. It's a great goal by Nylander passing it over to Tavares. He hammers it home. But the Stars just aren't good enough in these games, man. No. And again tonight, where outside of the power play and 6-on-5, did you notice Mitch Marner once?
No, I didn't think it was a very good Mitch Marner game. And like, I'll tell you right now, dude, to this point about the Stars, like the great dichotomy here for me is just like, again, the way that Florida is trying to generate offense. And like, I know, again, the power play, right? They're scoring on the power play, but it's guys that are just nasty in front of the net and are constantly going to those areas. Like Sam Bennett tonight just put the Leafs in his pocket. And I thought, he's not just in your head from like the way that he plays standpoint, but it's just, he's relentless with the areas of the ice that he's trying to go to. Doesn't take shifts off and finds his way into those spots. He's just such a gamer. And he did it for Team Canada and he did it for Florida tonight. But like the difference between the two teams to me so much is just Florida gets to those spots routinely. Yeah. And Toronto's entire game with their Stars, even when it was 6-on-5, I thought that was one of the things that frustrated me the most, right? Is like, what was one of the things that we really liked about the power play when they moved Matthew Knies there, right? It was that Marner was at the top, but they were crashing the front of the net, and Knies was tipping pucks, and Tavares was banging in front of the net, and it didn't feel like, hey, it's just Matthews and Nylander from the wings taking bad angle shots that they're hoping find a way into the net. Got to be absolute snipes to get there, right? Look at the 6-on-5. Like if you're a fan and you've got this game recorded, because I don't think that we clipped the entire shift, but it's just all perimeter, man. There's no one going hard in front of the net. There's no puck battles in the crease. The goalie's totally comfortable. Bobrovsky can see everything. And it's just, again, Toronto Stars kind of on the outside looking to try to pick shots. And it's not good enough, man. Like
they didn't even gain the zone for the last 50 seconds. Like it just feels that there's a really big fear of contact and big fear of the Panthers when it comes to a lot of the players. Like I'll give Max Domi full credit tonight. I wanted him on the ice. I wanted the puck in his stick. I wanted him dictating because it felt like he was one of the very few forwards on the Toronto Maple Leafs that wasn't afraid. Like it just.
Can I dig on that for a sec? Because this is my thought with Max is one, he gets kicked out to the wing and obviously like that's where he's meant to be. Right. So good for him because he's actually like, this was always the case for Max Domi. He was like properly slotting him and making him a winger rather than trying to be like a responsible centerman who's playing a 200-foot game against the Florida Panthers. Like just wasn't going to happen with Nick Robertson on his wing. Right. And you and I were both texting about Lawton tonight. Like you could really start to pick up some pieces of his game. Like doesn't get that one clear on the PK, which is a tough spot for him. But overall, this was like by far his best game as a Leaf. I know not a crazy bar, but he was doing positive things. But the thing I thought about Max tonight is how he is the kind of player that you pray is built for games like this, right?
Exactly.
Played within himself, didn't take stupid penalties, was clearly aggressive, makes a big hit, shoots a damn puck for once off the rush. Like, thank God, because there was nobody else there to pass. Because if anyone was even in earshot,
he would have probably do a quick head turn to see if he could feel anybody within 20 feet of him. Oh, we get to watch him beat the crap out of Schmidt again.
Yeah,
that's really enjoyable.
Of course, we're gonna let people watch them beat the crap out of Nate Schmidt. Nate Schmidt again. The ref grabbed him like when you see like dogs fight and an owner like rips a dog like by the scruff. That's the ref there was like, get out of there, little puppy. That's an old dog. Yeah. So I just thought, what a real, like, we've had a couple of moments this season where we've gone like, hey, this is something Max can build off of.
Yeah.
But I really think that this might actually be one of them. He just fit into this game. He was nasty. He was chippy, but he didn't do something stupid. Gets a fight, gets a beautiful goal, reacted to the crowd. I got to think that this had to be amazing for his confidence, even though he would obviously trade it all for the win.
Totally agree. And like, as you know, like I said, with the playoff stuff and with all the stars, this is the opposite of what, this is like a visual switch flip where this switched into a playoff mode and Max Domi rose to the occasion and was hammering guys and physical and carrying the puck and passing and having the puck on his stick a ton. He scores a goal and then the other guys go away. So, that's not exactly, you'd probably take it the other way around. You would like if you were forecasting it, but yeah, nice game for Max. Really nice game.
So we touched on the stars and like I said, not good enough. It's very clear and obvious. Like I actually thought Matthews was around it a little bit more tonight than he has been in recent memory. Like he created a couple of opportunities, doesn't finish. He has the one that just goes over the bar. But like I actually thought Matthews played one of his, better games, like from a just him feeling like he was the line driver tonight versus Marner, who I really did think was pretty invisible for the most part. Like I can't tell you how many times I wrote down Mitch in the notepad tonight in terms of like, oh, that was a nice shift or that was a nice play. And normally when we do this show, like I have to kind of dial it back and say, all right, like don't try to get too many of these clips or don't try to highlight too much and emphasize too much of it. But ultimately, like, yeah, that was one of the biggest problems in this game. Already touched on it. Thought it was too perimeter. Thought Matthews was driving the net, trying to make some plays, but ultimately not good enough for many of those guys. But one of my biggest points of frustration from this game, honestly, is like, you've got a Florida team. Both of you guys are scrapping and clawing for 5-on-5. I think anybody with a brain would have known coming into this that this wasn't going to be a high-scoring affair, right? It was going to be intense. It was going to be tightly checked. It was going to have a bit of a playoff feel. The dumb penalties in this game really hurt this team. And it starts with David Camp. You've got all this momentum in the first period, and you try to go behind the goaltender through his crease when the fourth line's on the ice, actually generating a scoring chance. I thought it was one of the dumbest penalties like I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, what are you doing? Like, it is just a completely brain dead moment. He goes to the box, and Florida doesn't capitalize on that one, but they get a little momentum going. All of a sudden, you're not rolling your lines the same way, right? You've got to use Matthews, and you've got to use Marner on the PK. And then the next one, listen, I know that the refs should have blown the whistle. I think you called it in the text a hero move by them not to blow it. I totally understand fans being frustrated with that. They mentioned it on the broadcast. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson, like, you sucker punched a guy in the face in front of the ref. Like, I don't mind you even trying to like lay the lumber there, give a little bit of a cross check, but it's just a like irresponsible, emotional play in a super tight game.
Look at Bennett, man. Look at Bennett.
Yeah, I know. Bennett's a freak. And it's like, he's just in there. Like I said, you could tell Stolarz was pissed. He got really mad at, I can't remember what the guy's name is right now in Florida, depth player for them later in the game. What?
AJ Greer.
Yeah, the Greer around the net later. It's like, but to take this penalty in this spot when you're protecting a lead, just dumb, man. Like, I'm sorry. I don't think that's like team toughness. I don't think that's what you're looking for. Like, to me, that's getting too emotional and playing outside yourself. And it's something that we've been like talking about with this team in the past when they play these kind of games, right? Against the Bostons and the Floridas of the world that like play them chippy and they have those couple of spots. And this one bit them in the ass. And then they've got the too many men penalty later where it's like, McMahon, you selfish guy. Like, what are you doing? You go to the bench and then you turn. Like, how often do you see that where a guy goes there and he's like, it wasn't even like he was having an aggressive play. He just kind of coasts into the offensive zone. So I thought dumb penalties really hurt them tonight. And so if you're going to cry about the power play goals or the power play discrepancy, it's like, you got to point out the guys that had just bozo moments in this game.
Definitely. And to add to the feel of the playoff failures that give all the Leaf fans PTSD, right? Yeah. They score on their power play opportunities, on the two dumb penalties that you take, and the Leafs have their opportunities and look absolutely brutal on their power play. And it's just like, that's something that's haunted this team forever in the playoffs in the first round that they've gone out in is the special teams discrepancies where the other team's power play is just lethal. They get the puck right between the hash marks. You know, Bennett just hammers it home both times from the sweet spot. And it's just, that's another thing that just has killed you in years past, and you let it happen again tonight. So baseball dude 34 says in our group chat here, or not our group chat, our text, but says that this is a Berube rips into the team game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And is it?
No.
Like, it never is.
No. I honestly, man, my prediction is that like we saw Berube get really angry with the team on the bench in the Vegas game.
Uh-huh.
Like he tore into them. He was like doing the wake up. He's screaming his head off, furious that they're leaving Stolarz out hanging to dry. Yep. You don't see too many of those moments from him. And I do wonder what, like, my bigger curiosity with him, honestly, is not using the media. It would be to find out what it's like behind closed doors after this one. Like, what the level of accountability might be, because we like, it's so repetitive and I hate talking about it at this point because it's just like, it's exhausting because they just don't do it. But like, this was such a game for me where it's like when they bump Domi up, they give him a look on the second line for a shift. I'm like, bump Marner down and put Domi there and let Marner play with Lawton for a couple of shifts or Tavares. I don't care, but just give me a different look than exactly what we're seeing over and over and over again. And you just saw it tonight where it was like Barkov just eats him up, right? Just, hey, you're not really going to do too much against me.
He owns Matthews.
100% owns him. And it's like, at what point are you going to try to like do something different? Like, you came in here, you watched Sheldon Keefe coach this team. You were working on the TNT panel, right? You got to watch the Leafs in playoff games, big games, got to pay close attention to him because he knew all along that he was going to be a front runner candidate if things went sour for Sheldon Keefe, right? Like I had Berube on my show. I think you would have had him on yours. Yeah. He was always like pretty diplomatic with the way that he talked about the team. Not like he was like Mr. Flyer and Bluster anyway, but he knew that he had the outside shot. So for him to like watch that team over and over again and not think like, hey, let's break up these guys in moments like this, especially when it's not going, I think is pretty frustrating. So I don't care about what he says to the media today. Like, of course, would I prefer it? Yeah, because it makes my job easier. I think it makes it more interesting. And it does take a bit of a temperature of where the team is at and him trying to use a different tool to motivate these guys. Yeah. But I want to see it more in terms of like practical application with this group and see them genuinely respond when they play Florida in the next game. See a team that looks heavier, see a team that is more Craig Berube hockey, which is like get to the dangerous areas and be aggressive on the forecheck, because I just don't think that's who they were tonight. I thought they were a Sheldon Keefe team with the top guys disappearing, playing on the perimeter, and then just getting outworked on the power play.
I would just love to hear him say, we need more from our captain. Like, you haven't had he needs a defibrillator.
That doesn't happen here. It happens everywhere else.
He needs a absolute wake-up call, man. He needs a cold splash of water in the face. He needs something. And like running him out there for 21 minutes every shift with his best buddy, it's not the wake-up call that he needs right now. Because like they're just maybe not going anywhere anyway, so maybe it's all a moot point. But him looking like this, it's just not gonna work. He's the highest.
You didn't like him tonight? Because I did. I thought Matthews was better tonight.
Okay. He had 3 shots and he carried the puck a little bit. He's the highest paid player in the league. Yeah, it's the biggest 100%. Game of the year. Shoot one in the net. Like, you know, sure, he's maybe a bit more noticeable, but like they don't pay him the most in the league to be noticeable. They pay him to be They pay him to be undeniable, and he hasn't been undeniable. He has 1 5-on-5 goal in the last 16 games.
Well, that's the thing. This team can't score 5-on-5. Like, they're just not threatening.
Well, yeah, because the best 5-on-5 goal scorer on planet Earth isn't that anymore.
Yeah.
That's a big
or anywhere close to it.
Not even close. Yeah. It's like, he leads the league in assists over the past, arbitrary number. Yeah, he plays with great players. He gets to play in the power play. Like, it's just somebody needs to wake this guy up, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's banged up. Then don't play. I don't know.
Yeah. Get ready for the postseason.
I'm so sick of talking about it. Like, it's
for sure. But I just like, I don't know. I've had so many people send me like their theories, right? Because I've been doing it over and over and over again. And like, some of them I think are like, it's everything from like, everybody knows. It's like, there's been 55 different theories that are out there, many of which I think are like huge reaches.
Of course, they're all,
well, it's crazy to me, even what like some people will try to theorize with this stuff again, because it drives you crazy. But yeah, I just think that ultimately, this is supposed to be about accountability. So make them accountable. And I just think, honestly, from just a strategic standpoint too, like the Marner Matthews thing has been tried so much. And then like you see it again in a big night like this, and it doesn't really have an impact. And you just go, okay, well then like when?
It's just because there's so many bad memories, bud. There's so many bad memories. And every time you get into one of these games and it's tight and nothing happens, you can't help but look back on all the bad things and all the times it's failed. Yeah. And it's just like these big games, like this Panthers, those jerseys, those players, they just own this team. And like they said that they were 11-1-1 in these games at home. Like they said that stat to me. And I was like, it was the most mind-blowing stat of all time. Like, I guess they just maybe win the early season ones or whatever when they sucked a couple of years ago when they weren't this version of the Florida Panthers. I don't know what it is, but it's just there's no team in the league I have less confidence against. Like, I want to believe, buddy. There's nothing I want more as a fan for the city, for the fans of this team, for them to go deep. But in what world is the Toronto Maple Leafs beating that team 4-7?
Well, like
in
I said,
what world?
They're missing 3 huge guys too. Like,
I
imagine that.
I want to
that
get
game.
there. I just can't, dude. I can't
sure, but
get
just
there.
Try to imagine that game tonight. But Matthew Tkachuk is out there and Brad Marchand's out there. Like, again, your goaltender was losing his mind. You're taking that dumb penalty OAL because you're trying to protect him. They almost took another one, like I said, when Greer was around the net. Try to envision what that game is like if those two, like, not just pests, but Team USA, Team Canada forwards are on the ice doing their damn thing in games that matter. And they've got one of their better defensemen back who's going to be back. What I think it's like game 2 of the playoffs. He's going to get to return.
He's going to 18-game rest to work on cardio and and skills. And, he gets to be in the gym. Like, he'll come out terrible.
I was thinking with him too, like he's had injury history.
Yes. He
like
pushed
you removed him from getting hurt. Obviously they'd rather have him for this run to try to finish first in the division, but it's like, yeah, he's not going to be there. I don't know, man. It's tough. Like Ottawa's red hot right now. Tampa's hot. Florida's playing good. I know they blew the game against Boston yesterday, but like I watched that game, that whole Boston Panthers game.
Couple softies from Bobrovsky.
What? Yeah, a couple softies from Bobrovsky. Yeah. But also like Boston played one hell of a hockey game too to come back. Like they were down 2-0 and they showed like a ton of grit in the third period and they came through and I was just like, yeah, this is kind of where I was actually going with this. Matt in the chat says Leafs lost to Colorado, Vegas, Florida recently, and they didn't look like they were close to contenders. It's like, how do you not read that and take something out of it, right? Like, I don't know how you sit with that and say,
this is just 2 straight Leafs talks where I'm just sad.
Yeah,
like you watch that Colorado game and it was on the day of the Mitch Marner stuff came out and we were coming in here. It's like, I want to come in here and have fun conversations about my favorite team playing well and not like the Sens are coming in on, I don't know. They were winning the last time I looked. I don't know if they finished
Saturday. Yeah.
I don't know if
Sens were up 4-2.
They were up when the last time I looked. They ended up winning 6-3 over the Bruins. They're red hot. They're coming into Toronto on Saturday night, ready to prove something. Leafs not playing great. This has the potential to be a real bad stretch for the Leafs. And
then they've got Calgary who's dying for a postseason spot. Like,
they'll beat Calgary at home. That's the type of game they can win.
You know what I really don't want though, man, is like one of the things that made tonight so big, and because people probably heard me say like it's the biggest regular season game since the Pittsburgh game, and they're like, oh, JD overreacting, and like I get it, whatever. I'm sure we've had lots of times where people have said this is a big game, this is a huge game, and then like ultimately, you kind of forget about it. But this one was big just in the context of like what these standings are and what they represent for Toronto is not just like avoiding the matchup. It's actually winning something. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but for this franchise,
such a great point.
Winning a thing like winning the Atlantic, and for a group that has had year over year where they've just been like out of the mix, do you really want to see the Leafs? Like, if you're trying to think about this thing as Groundhog Day, right? Like, and break it up as to what's different, and we've done the what's different with the group. Do you really want the last like 2-3 weeks of the season where Toronto just actually doesn't really have a shot at winning the division? Like where they're back to the same thing where they're playing for home ice in the Atlantic playoff round against Tampa Bay.
Sick.
Yeah. Like you think that's going to keep these guys engaged the same way that a chase for that run would be? You think that there would be zero mental impact for that group to finish first in the Atlantic and finish hot to the season and feel like they're rolling into the playoffs with like some real momentum and getting to face something different than one of the 3 groups that they've played over and over and over again in the playoffs? Like, Yeah, I've seen a lot of this stuff about like how you don't want to face Columbus or Ottawa or like, even Montreal or whatever, because like the embarrassment factor. But Leafs have at least been there a bunch of times. Those teams haven't. You feel way more confident against those groups than you do against Tampa and Vegas, or sorry, and Florida. I do. I'll never believe
literally anyone. So,
well, yeah. I joked about this on my show today where people are like, "Oh, I'm afraid of the embarrassment," though. I'm like, you really still worry about embarrassment as a Leafs fan? Like that's a real thing for you. Like they lost 3-1 to Montreal in the Canadian bubble series. Like we thought, like they keep losing the first round every year. They finally get past the first round. They do a "We Want Florida" chant, and Florida caves their heads in and sends them into a spiral. They overpay every single one of their players in every single negotiation. They have more drama seemingly than any other team. And I know it's all just the big bad media's fault for doing it. It's not like, their GM asking a star to waive his no trade at the deadline. It's the media's fault for that. It's the pressure of the market's fault for that, I'm sure. Whatever. Yeah. It's not Mitch's fault, that's for sure.
I wonder if Mikko Rantanen would have looked any better tonight. That's an interesting thought.
Anyways, don't say that to me. No. Especially my position was that, they'd be better with Marner down the stretch to get to the postseason and better with Rantanen in the playoffs. And it's like tonight was not good in that bucket.
No, Marner was not
honestly one of his least noticeable games ever. Again, my silver linings is great night for Domi.
Yeah,
I thought a real positive step forward for Lawton in terms of you could start to see the things that he does well, and he just looked a little more comfortable in this game. Yeah, not phenomenal. I'm just saying,
got to bear down on that puck and get it out of the zone.
Yeah, got incredible play though
for sure. But he was trying to blow the zone, and it's like he's got a guy right on his shoulder. It's you gotta bear down and get that puck out. I know it's an easy thing to say, but you're killing a penalty. You're a penalty killer. That's your role. You're not going to beat the guy that's on your hip to the puck. You're not going to get a breakaway.
Yeah.
If I don't know if we have that play or not. I didn't ask him to clip it, but he's looking up. He's not looking down to the puck. He's looking to go bear down, get that puck out. Unbelievable play by Seth Jones.
I think though, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also kind of understand that he is kind of looking to go there because he's holy crap, Jones is on his tribute. Yeah, he's on his back, and I'm horned up to try to do something here. I actually think that if you're asking me what's the priority there to chip it out or to try to make a play where you can create an odd man rush when you're down in a hockey game and try to go score a shorty, I don't mind that one as much. My biggest penalty kill gripe tonight, honestly, was again Matthews. Mm-hmm. The play that he makes, just sort of standing and watching as Florida breaks in for their first power play goal. I went, what is it you say you do here on this? Yeah. Can we pull up the first power play goal? It's just he's floating in the middle of the zone. He's at the hash and he's this lazy stick play. Boom, it gets over. Man beats him. And he does the sky up because he knows it's his fault.
Yeah, it's tough. The Matthews, we've talked about it enough, but it's just not a lot of great reads going on out there at the moment. For sure.
But that one just dude, what are you doing? You got to, again, it's a wake up play. What are you doing? What are you defending there if not for him? Why are you not jumping forward? I know it's a split second decision, but that's what you do as a great player. That's what you do as a penalty killer.
By the way, is there anything that we were more right about than how good Seth Jones looks?
Dude, I was going to it next.
Oh my God. It's back. Oh yeah, he's back. It's just it's the guy that you and me said was the best player in the league for a couple years in Columbus. He's back. Yeah. Rangy.
I texted you though. I was I'm hoping that my only cope was that Werenski's so good.
Yeah.
that maybe it was Werenski carrying it all along and that Jones was just always a fraud. And then I watched tonight and I'm like, oh yeah, the big, huge guy who's super engaged, who's can move the puck. And yeah.
And you saw him with Masters in the intermission. He's it's so nice to be here because they're winning. It's coming here. And I just, they're embrace. It's oh my God. Mm-hmm. And he's just huge out there. And he's got a great offensive mind, snaps pucks towards the net, good gap control, rangy, he's awesome.
I was afraid of him.
Me too. How much did he end up playing tonight? He felt like he was out there half the game.
Yeah, that's always a good sign is when you think a guy's on the ice a ton. And that was definitely I thought he led their team in terms of that feeling tonight, him and Bennett, of just he's back out there. He's doing it again.
He didn't get an assist on that play, eh?
Oh.
I guess it went back down below the draw. So he ended up as a -1 tonight, which is funny, but he played 27-57 tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll take
57.
I think he'll take the game that he had tonight very like he's not worried about that -1. He's like, that's a for the people who say plus minus doesn't matter at all stat.
Yeah.
That's a big win for them.
Yeah.
Like it's a good plus minus stat night. All right, rapid fire time. Or you got anything else big from this game?
No, nothing else big. I don't think. Just that it was nice to see. I mentioned it quickly, but Tanev back and looking like himself. I guess that's a bit of hope for the Leafs.
I'll tell you this though, too.
Night.
I feel like I'm in the times of flat circle takes here with some of this stuff, but I thought Tanev was good, but tonight was like I'm just going to be scared of Benoit. Benoit draws a penalty, like great play by him, outskates Bennett, tired at the end of a shift, draws a penalty. Benoit just overall though, like in his own zone when they're dumping in pucks and he's got to make decisions, it's just scary. And then it's unfortunate, but you feel the same way with Morgan Rielly. Like you and I were texting, there's one moment in this game where Morgan Rielly has time and space and he just fires a puck down the ice, ices it. And I'm like, he does that a lot. And just some of the turnovers, he gets beat wide a couple of times in this game. You don't feel comfortable about him like boxing out these Panthers in front of the net or being able to keep them away from their spots. It's just, again, it's only 3 games into Carlo, but the idea that this was like going to fix Morgan Rielly is like that stock is down. Like that stock would have seen a little bit of a like jump, right? With Carlo, with his addition, people are like, ooh, buy Rielly stock now. You can still get it for a decent price. And it's like, I think it's the market has corrected and it's back to where the expectation. Like I just didn't think he had a good game tonight. Flat out. Didn't think Rielly was good.
Agree. Agree. It's just every night, man.
Yeah.
It's every night. And you look ahead to this offseason and you look ahead to if this potentially ends earlier than we all want it to. I think a big part of what this will look differently may include him. So we'll see. He may not waive. He may, he's every single contract they gave out has a full no move. So maybe that doesn't matter, but it's part of the problem. So
yeah. Jacoby Mans in the chat says Bennett will look good in Leafs jersey.
Jacoby Mans. For $11 million that he's going to get this offseason. Is he going to look good for that?
So all I can think of with the Sam Bennett thing is like, so if Marner walks, he's clearly the number 1 target for the team, right? Like you'd rather have him than Ehlers, like sure, like it's like
Marner.
No, you'd rather have Bennett than Ehlers. I'm saying like out of the top targets that are left over now that Rantanen's off the board.
Yeah.
For free agents, if Toronto goes into free agency with a bunch of cap space and the ability to like actually flex
around,
splash around, then obviously Bennett becomes the number 1 target for the team. And I would think that they would actually try to convince Brad Marchand to come play for them too.
But I'm just saying, like he's signing for $850K in Florida.
Yeah, probably. But I'm just saying, if like, it doesn't happen, like that, those guys would be like players of interest, players of note for Toronto. But I will say that Bennett just reeks of someone who's just like so good, so incredible, and then he comes here, it's like David Clarkson, where
1,000%, 1,000%. Like there's just you couldn't have nailed it more. Like, I have nothing else to add because you're bang on.
And I will say that Bennett's one of my favorite players too.
Agree.
Like, yeah,
love him.
So, yeah, so I'll love it and I'll do it. But I'm just saying that I can feel it where it's like, oh, you let Mitch Marner leaves, and then you got Bennett, and the fan base is like, don't worry, we got Bennett, he's a stud. And then it's like, yeah, he's a stud on Florida where they've got all the other studs, and like he gets to stand in with the studs and stud.
There's just no way it works. There's just no way it works out the same.
Yeah.
Like we just all want it to look like it looks there, and it just will not look like it.
He would look terrific in blue and white though. Like I've actually pictured it, and I'm like, yeah, this would fit. Like this would be a thing.
And he's just such a menace out there.
Again, $10.5 million contract for Sam Bennett.
He's going to get paid. I'm happy for the guy having a career year as one of the top free agents in a year. The cap spikes. Like this is what you dream of. So good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Just such a good player, man. I got to tell you, my other thing with Bennett that I really love about him, and this is the worst part of Leafs talk maybe ever.
Cat talk?
No, it's just I was going to say that, like, yeah, Leafs fans are pissed. They're watching this. And they're like, we really want to hear you just, like, kiss Sam Bennett's ass and be like, wow, he's the other reason why I'm crushing on him. But I do love that he's just stoic, man.
Yeah.
Like, you get in his face, and he just looks the same. He's, like, scoring goals, like, very little excitement. Like, hits a guy, doesn't do anything, like just around it. He's just always stone face. There's something about it I like.
All right. That's enough of that.
Yeah, that's enough. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Like, I know it's enough of that. Like, he's good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to keep praising him. Like, all we do is praise. Listen, he scored he scored in the most meaningful game for Canada in 15 years. He was crucial in that game.
Yeah.
He scored 2 goals tonight. He's going to get paid $1 million, potentially $100 million, potentially by the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, it's just, he's a good player. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I got nothing else from this one, buddy. So yeah, that's it for me.
Strap in for the Battle of Ontario. Like, let's have a positive one. I don't want to do this. Like, this is depressing. And they have 2 more games against these guys coming up. So maybe they can flip the script. Maybe they can look a little bit better against them.
You want a positive one for that?
Yes.
You're in Hawaii and you won't see Florida and Tampa back to back in April.
Oh my God. Yes.
You'll just be like doing that, getting a lay, doing your White Lotus. Culturally appropriating, thinking that you're cool. Like, no, the locals really like me here.
No, I would never. I am the most fearless guy ever. I do not fit in anywhere other than Owen Sound, Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, you know who's bad for that?
You?
Me, yeah. Every trip, I'm like, gotta fit in with locals having drinks. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, we both live here.
Yeah, like goes, has a drink and a dart and tries to like kiss ass to a local and be like, what's the cool spots around here? I'm just a dork. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, subscribe to this podcast. Please leave 5 stars. Please leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Again, like all these things, even if you're a YouTube watcher, please subscribe to the podcast. Like, follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple. Really helps out the show, really makes it so that it's like a sustainable product. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sam McKee. Reach out to us anytime. Share the show, and we will see you Saturday night for the Battle of Ontario. I think a big one.